Hey there guys, what's up? It's JP here and I'm finally back with another Hearthstone video. This time we're doing a quick review of all the different classes, so I will break this up into different episodes um, for each class, and then the neutral ones will be all together at the end. So let's start off with Druid here. We have the first Druid card, Mark of Yasaraj. Now I know I'm pretty late, like the expansion is practically out the next day, but I just want to give my thoughts on the early, on what I expect from every single card and whether I think it'll be good or not. Just so that you guys, who are more or less like my level, where we just play casually, uh, we can figure out what cards are better for crafting. So yeah, we're starting off with Mark of Yasaraj, and it is a 2 mana. Give a minion +2/+2. If it's a beast, draw a card. Now, the obvious comparison for this card would be to something like, oops, I'm opening Hearthstone so that I can do the comparison here, but the obvious comparison would be to something like, say, Druid of the, not Druid, oops. Okay, so yeah, let's just open this up and I'll show you the comparison right here. Yeah, so it's not open, you can't open the packs quite yet, so like I was saying, as you can tell, I'm not playing that much. Druid, where's Druid? Druid is this one here. So the comparison would be to the infamous 2 mana spell known as Mark of the Wild. Right? Obviously, this card has seen some competitive play in the past. So, do I think this card is better than the other card? Than this one? No, actually I don't. I actually believe this is far more powerful card than the other one, because generally when you're playing this, um, it'll be on early game minion, and the early game minion doesn't really need the taunts. You just need the card advantage, and this actually gives you the early game more like a tempo swing, where you play a card, you buff up a card, and you get to draw a card out of your deck. So I think this is just way more powerful. Of course, the only downside is that it has to be cast onto a beast for you to get the card. So if beast druids become a thing, then sure, we could see this see quite a bit of play, but um, obviously, if you're not playing this on a beast, then obviously Mark of the Wild's better. But if you are playing on a beast, then this is obviously better. Is what I'm trying to say. In arena, I think this card is pretty decent. I've been playing a lot of arena. As you can see, I've like accumulated quite a bit of dust there. About 5,000 gold at the corner. So I've been playing quite a bit of arena. So I have a pretty vague sense. Just so you know, I'm going to show off a little bit here. Finally got my oh gosh, where is it? Oh, you can't see it. Oh, I thought you could see it for some reason. Options? Is it in here? Wow, I guess you can't. Oh, it's over here, right? Total, no. Is it here? I didn't show it anymore. Anyways, I finally got my 12 wins in arena, so I have done that before. So I would say at the very least I'm an average player. So I think this card is really good in arena. Next we have Feral Rage, 3 mana, choose 1. Give your hero +4 attack this turn, or gain 8 armor. So obviously this one was choose 1 super flexible cards where it's both offensive and defensive. I think this card is actually really, really powerful. You could argue it's kind of like a bite, in between of bite and that costs the same as much as a Shadow Bolt. Shadow Bolt is pretty playable in arena, so this will definitely make it. This is definitely a really powerful card in arena. The variance of giving you +4 to kill a minion for tempo, or to gain 8 armor is pretty huge. In fact, I think it's the ability on this card is so powerful that you'll probably see some competitive play as pseudo removal, or a kind of like a mini. I wouldn't say mini, but like a weaker antique heal bot. Of course, there's an argument to be made that it could be a more powerful antique heal bot because it gives you armor instead of health, and it's always more valuable to have armor because Alex Strasser can't really kill you like you can only have 30 health, but you can have way more armor, right? So um, there's always that argument to be made. So pretty powerful card. You'll definitely see play in both arena and constructor, I think. But I was wrong about a lot of cards before, so what do I know, right? Next you have the Dark Arakoa. So we have a 6 mana 5/7 taunt. Battlecry, give your Cthulhu +3/3 wherever it is. So those of you who do not know what Cthulhu is, it's basically one of the new old gods. I mean, you guys should probably be aware of this, but yeah. Like I was saying, it's one of the new old gods that does damage based on its attack value, and this basically is a huge buff. In fact, this is probably the biggest buff that you can get on the Cthulhu outside of like one or two cards. So um, the 6 mana slot is going to be the new benchmark in Whispers of the Old Gods, in my opinion, for Druids. And you'll find out why a couple of cards later. In fact, let's just rearrange it so that you'll find out next, right? Um, but yeah, the 6 mana spot is the new sweet spot for Druid. And in my opinion, 5 health is the new benchmark. Previously, it has always been 5 health. It's a pretty nice target to hit. As for a creature, because it's out of range of things like Death Bite, True Silver, Pilot Shredder, that kind of thing. And this hitting the 5 attack, I think, is a pretty big deal. Because with the 7 health odds, you'll probably trade in with a fairly big minion as well. And with the taunt, it stops aggro pretty efficiently. So yeah, really powerful card. You will definitely see this played in any Cthulhu Druid, if Cthulhu Druid is a thing, which it looks like it might be just based off this card below. So yeah, really powerful card. In Arena, you won't see this card because all the Cthulhu cards can't be drafted. Alright, next we have the Maya Keeper, and this is the card I was talking about before, about why the new sweet spot for Druid is 6, as opposed to 4, right? Whereby you wild growth on 4, or wild growth on 2, and then you immediately skip your turn 3 in a way and go to 4 crystals. Now at 4, you can basically skip your turn 5 and go to 6 because of Maya Keeper, whose ability is a 4 mana 3/3. Choose one, summon a 2/2 slime, which is okay. 5 mana 5/5, 4 mana 5/5 worth of stats. Over 2 borders is really good, but the other one, the gain an empty mana crystal, is huge. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, this ability is huge because, like I said, it lets you skip your 5 drops, which is a pretty big deal with cards like the infamous Sludge Belchers, and basically all the powerhouses are leaving the 5-drop slot, right? Like if you ran anti-Q bots, you won't be seeing those anymore. Fell Reavers for aggro. Aggro is cycling out, I believe. And we have Loathfab and Sludge Belchers, which are the 2 big 5-drops of the game, exiting out as well. So what I think will actually replace them in the 5-drop for Druids. I'm actually really curious about that myself, because we all know Druids always have the Druid of the Claw, which is a really solid 5-drop. I don't think you'll be seeing Force of Nature anymore with the new nerf. And definitely Nourish might not be a thing. So the question is whether Druid of Fang would be a thing. I've not seen enough Beast Synergy to promote this more than it's already tried to be promoted. So I don't think you'll see this. You might actually see this a lot more. Starfall, which is just a solid, has always been a fairly solid removal card. But the reason why it was taken out in favor of other things like Sludge Belcher and whatnot is because of how sticky those cards are and their minions, right? So I expect to see more Drakes as well. Most Druids run only 1, so you might see them running 2. Faceless Manipulator might be a new option, but obviously I think the more outstanding one would be Harrison Jones and what's it called? This one, the Stampeding Kodo. Now, you might laugh at this, but people forget at one point that this card was actually a pretty big deal. Now, I'm not sure of the overall set if there are a lot of 2 attack things to hit here, but Stampeding Kodo basically is a pseudo removal and a what do you call it, a 3/5 body, right? So it does two things. So usually if you play it, you're going to snipe something. It's going to be at least a 2-for-1, which is a pretty big deal because it's also a beast, right? So if they're trying to push the beast theme, that's probably what you will see in the five slot. But realistically, I do believe the more common one would be the Ash Roderick. Maya Keeper, like I was saying, really powerful card in Arena. You see this pick. This is probably going to be one of the top picks because it's both a rep and a multiple body card. And in Constructed, you definitely see this played. Next, we have Adult Grizzly, 3 mana 2/2. After you summon a minion, give it +1/+1. Now, this is a really interesting card because it says summon. So, summon cards can actually trigger with things like your 3 ends, you know. Basically, anything that is played that touches the field is summoned. So Living Roots summons a minion. So those guys get buffed. Um, if you do the Panther gets buffed. Anything that comes out of the Raptor gets buffed. And even things like all your treants, I believe, from these things, and Whispers, even the new Whispers card, and the, what's it called? Force of Nature. So these cards are all going to get the buff. So in that sense, this card is really powerful because you can get it even off Violet Teachers and stuff. But is it actually worth the 3 mana investment for such a weak body? I don't think so. On the upside, like I said, it is a beast. So if there's some kind of token beast deck, maybe this would see play. But I don't think it's quite good enough. Like, it's good, but it's not broken. So I don't think you see this in competitive play, like in standard. However, in Arena, I think this card is pretty good. Just because any buff to a minion is pretty huge in Arena. So this might actually see some play. Next, we have the Calixi Amber Weaver. 4 mana 4/5, really competitive stats. Battlecry, if your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, gain 5 health. So in theory, this could be a 4 mana 4/10, which is insane, right? That's almost like an Ancient of War, right? If you guys don't know what the Ancient of War is, this is the Ancient of War. You just definitely seen this all over the place in Druid decks. It's pretty on par with that in terms of power level if you get the buff off. And even if you don't get the buff, it's 4 mana 4/5, which is basically a Chill Wind Yeti. Again, those new players who for some reason never saw this card because this card kind of cycled out. This was basically the benchmark for all 4-drops in the early days of Hearthstone. If you look back far enough in my videos, I think you might see it. Yeah, so the Chill Wind Yeti is basically the really solid 4-drop, and this is potentially a better version. So power creep equals to somewhat broken. Somewhat broken means it'll probably be constructed viable. So if there's a Cthulhu Druid, you definitely probably put this as your 4-drop. Because again, with all the other cards, Druids had their big 4-drop nerfed. The Keeper of Growth is no longer a 2/4. So what are the cards that, I mean, you'll definitely see swipes. Whether you see more Savage Combatant remains to be seen here. Savage Combatant is a really solid 4-drop in Arena. So it might be able to, now that the power level of all the cards have gone down, you'll probably see more of that in Constructed. And by the looks of it, I don't see many others worth considering here. Like, if Token Druids become a thing, we might see Gormok in there. I don't think you're putting a Mechanical Yeti over the... well, you can't put it in because it's already cycling out. So, Shredder's out. You might see more Sengens in there, maybe Tomb Spiders. This is the big one I believe you'll see more of in Constructed nowadays, which is Spellbreaker, which is basically the only Silence minion I believe that has not been nerfed, which is a pretty big deal, right? The only problem with Spellbreaker is it's really poor stat line, but you don't really care because all you want to do is get off the ability here. So yeah, those are the big ones that I think will compete with this card in the 4-drop for Druids. But other than that, I didn't see any other real competition here. Next we have the Forbidden Ancient. The Forbidden is a new style of I wouldn't say mechanic, but style of card where it's basically spends all your mana crystals. So this one's a 1/1/1 that says that has a battle cry that says spend all your mana, gain +1/+1 for each mana spent. So I guess the biggest you're gonna get it is a 10/10. No, you could get bigger with brand, right? So if it doubles that, it would be a 19/19. So it's a pretty, it can get pretty big here. Obviously, this is the biggest silence bait ever because this basically suffers from the same thing that Earthshock, Twilight Drake suffered from. Which, if you don't know, Twilight Drake is right here, which is the 1 health. So Earthshock basically not only silences it but kills it for 1 mana. So pretty terrible card. You might see this in Arena just because silence is not that big of a thing there. Most people don't take silence because the minions that come with it are generally really weak, and after the nerf they're even weaker, so you might actually see this appear in the Arena quite frequently. But in Constructed it's not good. Next we have Wisp of the Old Gods. Choose one. Summon a 1/1 Wisp. Summon 7/1/1 Wisp, or give your minions +2/+2. So it's a combination of the previous Wisp card, right? I have no idea what it's called. I've actually never played with this card, which is weird coming from me, right? Because you guys have seen me play some pretty ridiculous decks. Yeah, there you go. It's right here. Dark Whispers, right? So this card never saw any play, and I don't think this will see any play either, right? Unless again there's like a token-ish style of Druid, which I don't know if it will be a thing. I'm not convinced to be a thing, but we're just a day away, so we'll find out pretty soon. Pretty terrible card in Arena. Pretty bad card in Constructed, so I don't expect you to see this at all. And lastly, we have the Druid Legendary. Fandrel's Staghelm. This is a really interesting legendary 3 mana 3/5, so it's Sanjin's Shieldmaster-ish stats. Your choose one cards have both effects combined. Now that is potentially a pretty big deal, you know what I mean? Now I'm aware that they actually have created cards, like a new card for those that have separate abilities. So something like the Ancient of War, I believe will. I'm not sure about Ancient of War actually. What's it called? Those that transform. So like the Druid of the Claw, right? They actually created a new card for it. If you manage to pull that off. Same for the other one, the Druid of the Flame, right? So they actually created a new card for that, which is pretty cool. In terms of the cards like this, where it's choose one, give 2 separate abilities, or maybe like a Keeper of the Grove, right? This one's probably a more clear card. Choose one, deal 2 damage, or silence a minion, right? So I believe what they said was that it would go in order according to attacks. So you would deal 2 damage first, and then you would silence the minion. So that's pretty interesting card here. Do I think it's very powerful? Yes, it has a incredible ability. Its stats is somewhat competitive, being that the new benchmark will be the 4/5 once again. Again, but this is because this is a 4-drop. It's kind of competing with the Calixi Amber Weaver thing, and cards like the Sanjin Shieldmaster. So is this better than those? It's questionable. I do like how it plays on Kurth with a Druid of the Fang here, which is this one. So you turn 4 play this, turn 5 play this, and then you get a 4/4 taunt with charge, or rather a 4/6 taunt with charge, which is pretty insane. So this card is definitely potentially really powerful. I don't think it'll be a top pick in the Arena, but in Constructed I would imagine you will definitely see play in 1 or 2 decks here and there, but I don't think it'll be very competitive. I could be wrong though. Its ability is just so powerful. It's just too powerful to be what it appears to be, right? Is what I'm saying. So yeah, that'll be all for the Druid cards by the look of it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be back real soon in the next part. This has been JP signing out.